Hey friends, how are you all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to cover something really cool, okay? So let's get started. The story begins with Midoriya trying to save Kid. Then we find out that one day, a shining kid was born who had superpowers. He's called Clark. After that, one by one, kids with superpowers kept being born, and now around 80% of people have superpowers. But no one really knows
How this all started. Then,
Midoriya looks up to heroes and wants to become one too. So, whenever Midoriya sees a hero, he takes notes about them. Then, at school, he finds out about this place he wants to go to, the biggest hero school. Midoriya wants to go there as well. He's the smallest kid and a huge fan of All Might, the #1 hero. Just like All Might, Midoriya wants to become a hero with all his heart. But the doctor tells him he has no powers, which really upsets Midoriya, because it means he can't become a hero. Then, the demon tries to climb onto Midoriya's body to take control, but Orbit shows up and with just one punch, blasts that teacher away. Then Orbit signs Midoriya's copy and starts to leave, but Vidor wants to ask him some questions, so he grabs on his legs. All Might is in a hurry, though, and Midoriya just wants to know if he can become a hero without any superpowers. He says he wants to be a hero like Walmart. Then we see the demon with the spine, that Walmart. The bottle was full, but when Midoriya was hanging by his legs during the match, it fell. His hair got in the way and kicked the bottle, and then the kitchen monster came out and attacked Bappu. Then we see the light, and he suddenly goes from muscular to super skinny. He tells Midoriya that 5 years ago, a villain badly hurt him, and now he can only maintain his muscular form for 3 hours a day to do hero work. He also tells Midoriya that he can't be a hero without superpowers, but he can become a police officer, and as he's coming down the stairs, we see him drop the bottle that had the mud monster trapped inside. Then there's an explosion a little ways off. After that, we see that this mud monster has done something to Bappu, and there's no hero strong enough to stop it. Midoriya sees the mud monster and thinks all of this is happening because of him, since he was almost hanging onto All Might's feet, which caused the monster to fall. Even Oil Man is watching all this from nearby. It happens, but it doesn't have enough strength to fully transform into its muscular form. As soon as Midoriya sees that the spine monster has caught Bappu, he rushes over to save him. Seeing his courage, All Might transforms and arrives there, blowing away the multi-headed monster. Then, mixing in some Widow's juice on the way, I say he can become a hero. Nobody really knows much about All Might's power, but it's the kind that can be passed from one person to another. He can go, and All Might is almost looking for someone who can take his place in the future. When he sees Midoriya, he feels like Midoriya might be that person. All Might wants to pass on his power, one for all, to Midoriya, but Midoriya needs to do physical training first, or else his body won't be able to handle the power. So, Midoriya trains hard for 10 months and clears all the obstacles in between. All this ends right on the morning of Midoriya's UA entrance exam. Then, All Might tells Midoriya to eat his stuff, give him the power, which gives Midoriya the All Might power. After that, Midoriya goes there and gets full gear that protects him from a ball. Then he meets Big Boss, who complains about him. The printer behind tells them they'll be sent to fight. There, Jitendra and Ajay Kumar have to kill robots and collect points. There are 3 types of robots that give different points for killing or surviving, and a 4th type of robot is optional. Killing, it gives no points. Then everyone is sent to the battle arena,
where they have 10.
There are only minutes left to gather points, and time keeps passing, but Midoriya doesn't get a single one. Then this huge optical robot shows up, and everyone starts running away in fear. But Midoriya sees that the people on those paths are in danger, so he uses his one for all power, smashes the robot hard, and knocks it down. However, using one for all like that breaks one of his arms and both his legs, and he starts to fall to the ground. But after beating the robot, someone slaps him awake and saves him. With his power, he can amplify anything, but the time runs out and Midoriya's minus points hit 0. Then there's a recovery glitch that completely wrecks Midoriya's body. After that, Midoriya gets a message from Aizawa saying he's been selected. Actually, there are some aggressive points involved, and Midoriya was chosen because of who he is. Aizawa explains that the whole system is requesting to transfer some of his points to Midoriya since he saved his life. Then Midoriya, on the first day, he goes in and finds out that both the hair guy and the reader are in the same class, which he didn't want, but he feels good seeing that Bra is also in the same class. Then their teacher comes, takes them to the gram to give some tests so he can figure out their power capacity. The rule is that whoever comes last gets kicked out. Everyone gives their 100% and uses their power. Midoriya also thinks about if he uses his power. If he doesn't use it, he'll end up last, so he tries to use his power. But today, he completely wipes out Midoriya's power and says that if Midoriya takes too long to use his quirk even once, then he's no hero at all. Then Midoriya says his power doesn't just sit idle in his finger, and he uses it to throw a ball so hard that his finger breaks, but the ball flies 700 meters away. After that, though, he can't perform well in any test because his finger is hurting and he ends up in last place. And that's today's story. He says he was joking and that no one was actually going to be kicked out, but you can tell he doesn't really get it. Last year, he did kick the whole class out, but this time he saw something in Midoriya, so he didn't kick him out. Then he takes almost the whole class, and everyone gets their suits that they had made. Midoriya hadn't made a suit for himself, but his mom saw the design in his notebook and got one tailored for him. After that, they all start training, splitting into 2 teams. There are 22 people, and out of them, 1 team will be the heroes. The active villain has to protect their bomb, and the hero team either has to defeat the villain or take control of the bomb. Midoriya is on a team with Yuta, and both of them are crying. There's some interaction with Hair, too. As soon as Midoriya enters the building, the Hair attacks him, but Midoriya picks it up and throws it away. Midoriya tries to use his power without fully activating it, and Korra tries to reach the bomb and touch it, but the leaders stop that. He won't let it happen, and after a long delay, Midoriya finally has to use his power. He unleashes it throughout the whole building, and taking advantage of that moment, Uraraka manages to touch the album. Midoriya's team ends up winning. Then we find out about some people's powers. Momo can create anything with her power. Suzu can transfer any part of himself into technical forms. Todoroki is Shivji's partner, and they both live in Row T, Wawa lives in NT, and Zero's power is his tail. And he has a partner who has full power, and that's the double. Then we look at Soren, who can pull out certain tricks, and his partner is Rishima, who can hurt his own body. On their opposing team is Toko, whose power is Dark Shadow, and his partner is Sway, who could do everything and comment on stuff. Then we have Minute, who's the most wild guy, and his power is Sticky Balls, which makes him perfect at everything. Finally, we see Soren again, whose power is Phone Check, and he can also do sound attacks. There's also a guy who's kind of a jerk, and he's got electric powers along with the ability to store energy. His strength is pretty impressive. Then there's his buddy Koda, who can make any animal do whatever he wants, and he can take out his powers from his body. Later, we find out that the almighty power can be transferred from one person to another. Some people know about this, including the principal, recovery girl, Midoriya, and his close friend. Midoriya didn't want his loss to affect his friends badly, so it says that this power actually came from someone else, and it's not really his power, but he can't
Say who's hiding behind the uniform. Then we see that All Might has become a teacher at this school, and the news spreads around. They hold votes to choose the class representative for Class 1, and Midoriya ends up being chosen. Later, while eating in the canteen, an alarm goes off, and all the kids start freaking out. But India realizes the alarm is going off because somehow the media has gotten inside, and Vidar tells everyone this. He speaks up and quiets all the kids, so Midoriya thinks he should be the class rep for the villain's class, and he accepts it. Then we see that someone has destroyed the school barriers, and the teachers believe this is a declaration of war. The Almighty notices that he's been slowing down ever since he gave his power to Midoriya. When the class goes for rescue training, I get really tired and can't go with them. There, we meet 13, who's a pro hero and can create black holes. And then, there are a lot of missions coming in, and the balance jams all the fans there, because of which they can't call any hero to help the students. So, That stops the students there and comes ready to fight all the villains along with him. All the students try to run away, but Kogiri stops them and tells them that he is here to fight the villains, and he and Matt Kumar have come here. Then Kogiri uses his power and teleports all the students to different places in Haryana.
So, to keep control over Garlic, Midoriya is sent
to the water area where Mineta
and Anzu are crying. Midoriya realizes that when the school bag was torn, somehow they must have sneaked into the school during the festival to get their information. Then, Irita is given the responsibility to help out. Tennis clears the way by stopping the patient, then looks back at Midoriya, who is surrounded by villains. Midoriya shows great strength, makes a hole in the water, and Mineta throws a bunch of his cords into the water. He throws it away and uses the power of tears to get out of there. Then we see that the villain has been struggling for a long time, and Midoriya comes over to see if he can help, but he doesn't get a chance. Just as he's about to help, he's watching him, but as a racer blinks coming over, Shigaraki, who's the villain, uses his power and badly damages Eraser's neck. Meanwhile, Head's condition gets really bad,
and Eraser is done for. It feels like no, almost as powerful. Then we see Kogiri make a move and injure typing. Then Kurogiri uses all his power on Kogiri and calls the media for help. After that, he comes home ready to use his power again, but Eraser stops him by erasing his power. Then Midoriya uses his power, but this time his hand didn't move. Still, Midoriya shows up and saves Kogiri, then land a punch on Midoriya. After that, things get intense. Using his speed, he poisons him and takes all the other kids far away, then starts fighting the other madams. But Namo punches him, forgiving the debt, and it doesn't affect him at all. Then All Might fights Mamuksha Prince, but Kurogiri uses his power, and because of that, helps No Almond by attacking his old wound. Meanwhile, Hirajirai tries to kill All Might by shutting down his teleportation hole. Midoriya sees All Might is in trouble and comes to help him. Just then, Kirishima arrives there with Bappu. And when it comes to the doctors, he stuffs the notes into his wallet and grabs hold of Giri's body. But it all gets cleared up. He goes to hit the hair, but the Might manages to survive and snatches the chance from Namo. Then he fights madly with the madams and keeps going until his hobby of absorption makes the decision. After that, he does one last dangerous thing and throws Namo far up into the sky, where Kurogiri and Chikna live. That's when we find out the villain was tipped off, that Olmert. He's already weakened, but All Might gives it his all and knocks out Namakara. The villain tries to act tough, showing he's not weak, hoping to make a run for it. But the villain thinks I'm lying and attacks All Might. Midoriya, like a loyal dog, jumps in to protect All Might and ends up breaking both his legs. Just then, Shigaraki pulls his hand out of the portal and is about to use his power on Midoriya, but before he can, the teacher shows up there. Because of all those villains showing up, all the Williams have to run away from there. And if you tell your master about his loss, and his master says he needs to
come back even more prepared next time, then we see that this headquarters gets treated and he recovers. Nuvmi also manages to find the police and gets arrested easily. Then, at the very end of the engine, in a post-credits scene, Midoriya says this is just the beginning and an even bigger attack is coming. We also get a glimpse of a new villain, and that's where the hero. The Festival of Dia comes to an end, and if you like the video, please share it with your friends. I usually don't ask you to share videos, but honestly, a lot of hard work went into making this one. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye, and take care.